As the merge draws closer, owners of ETH have the choice to invest their assets through solo staking, staking pools, liquid staking protocols, and centralized exchanges. All of the methods have different advantages and disadvantages, despite modest differences between them. ETH owners have the opportunity to profit from the merge to proof of stake, which is about to be finished. In this video, we will show you how to make the most profit out of what will occur. The second largest blockchain in the world will convert from proof of work to proof of stake as a result of the merge. ETH will no longer use miners to verify transactions, opting instead to use validators. Owners of ETH can stake their assets to validate the network. There's also a good chance they will likely be paid for the services created in this process. The merge is presently anticipated to launch between September 13th and 15th. Even ETH holders already have a variety of staking alternatives at their disposal. This video describes the primary methods ETH owners can utilize to stake their assets before ETH's historic event. Through liquid staking protocols, one of the most well-liked ways to stake ETH is possible. Lido and Rocket Pool are now the two major products available. Users can stake their ETH tokens, which serve as a representation of their deducted funds, in exchange for rewards. All you need is an ETH wallet to delegate ETH to liquid staking mechanisms. The current APR offered by Lido is 3.8%, while the APR offered by Rocket Pool for staking is 3.61%. And the APR offered to individuals who want to stake their ETH and run their own node is 4.84%. In contrast, solo staking currently yields an APR of roughly 4.1% on ETH. Receiving a liquid token is the key advantage of liquid staking. Users can increase their yield by using the staked ETH token they get in DeFi protocols to represent their deposit. For instance, Lido's ETH deposits in Yearn Finance's yield strategy protocol currently earn about 7% APR, increasing the total yield to approximately 11%. Liquid staking methods like Lido and Rocket Pool are selective in who they choose to cooperate with as validators. Lido maintains a scorecard that is owned by the community and includes a whitelist of the best stake providers in the market. Rocket Pool, on the other hand, has a policy that states that any losses incurred as a result of unreliable validators are shared across the network of Rocket Pool to lessen the impact on individual users. Slashing, in which the network destroys a validator's ETH stake in response to misbehavior or malfunction, is one risk of ETH staking. Although Lido and Rocket Pool have taken steps to reduce slicing, utilizing them for stakes comes with additional dangers. The governance procedures of the protocols can be recorded, and they may contain vulnerabilities or attacks. Additionally, Lido's ETH briefly lost its one-to-one parity with ETH in June by more than 5%, showing that ETH and RETH are derivatives of ETH rather than being counterparts. Convenient ways to stake ETH and generate income are available on centralized exchanges. The majority of significant cryptocurrency exchanges, such as Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken, provide staking services and intend to support proof of stake ETH after the merge. Currently, Binance offers up to 5.2%, Kraken offers between 4% and 7%, while Coinbase gives about 3.28% APR. As mentioned previously, the simplest approach to make yield on ETH is probably by staking on centralized exchanges. To open an account, users must, however, successfully complete KYC identification checks. Additionally, these exchanges are custodial, which means that users entrust a third party with their money. Customers of Mt. Gox and Celsius are two examples of users who lost everything after entrusting businesses with their assets in the past. However, big exchanges offer a practical and largely safe channel for ETH staking. It's a common belief that validators operated by exchanges won't experience cutting. Users may receive compensation for decreased stakes, according to Coinbase, even if the cause was outside the exchange's control. A new method that is beginning to pick up speed is by depositing ETH on a centralized exchange that has declared it will support the POW fork. Users claim that this may be the simplest way to participate in the merge. Although not complete, the list below includes the major exchanges that have released statements. Poloniex, Binance, MEXC Global, Gate.io, and FTX seem to be the exchanges that will provide consumers their equivalent in ETHW after the merge. Given that Binance is now the leading centralized exchange by trading volume, it will probably have the largest market out of them. However, there is another choice for people who are unable to deposit their ETH on one of these exchanges before the merge. When the new POW fork occurs, holding ETH in a non-custodial ETH wallet ensures that your address will receive ETHW. In most situations, contributing ETH to an independent staking pool is just as simple as staking through Lido or Coinbase. Choosing the best staking pool is the more difficult challenge. This is due to having to properly ask and confirm upon the pool's open source, audited, and trustless status. The next step would be to research into its support for permissionless nodes, whether a bug reward has been given out, and the variety of its validator set are all questions for smart contract platforms like ETH. For centralized enterprises, variables like the track record, reputation, security architecture, and asset volume of the staking service provider are crucial factors to take into account. Delegating to a separate staking pool contributes to ETH's increased decentralization. Currently, less than half of the network's staking power is provided by solo validators and independent staking pools. A staking as a service platform is another option for ETH owners to stake their assets. By allowing customers with enough ETH to rent a validator and assign operations to a third party, SaaS platforms provide a unique kind of staking service. SaaS systems are typically regarded to offer larger yields and less risk than independent staking pools. They are, however, restricted to those who have 32 ETH. It's crucial to remember that independent staking pools and SaaS platforms might subject consumers to the same dangers as centralized exchanges and providers of liquid staking. It is possible to use exploits, glitches, withdrawal freezes, and slashing. Setting up one's own validator is possibly the most obvious choice for ETH holders wishing to stake their holdings, even though it typically takes specialized hardware, technical know-how, a reliable internet connection, and 32 ETH. Operating such a system is arguably simpler than working a mining operation. Solo staking presently yields 4.1% APR, according to the ETH website, though this number is anticipated to rise over 8% after the merge. Solo stakers engage in network consensus and add to the decentralization and security of ETH. In return, they don't have to pay management fees because they get incentives straight from the protocol. Solo staking carries some very real hazards. If a validator's internet connection is lost, their funds may be reduced. Solo validators are responsible for maintaining an unbroken network uptime, managing their own private keys, keeping track of their node, and updating their client software on a regular basis. Therefore, validating falls short of being considered a passive income technique. In severe cases, users run the danger of losing 32 ETH if they set up their node incorrectly. Due to the irreversible nature of ETH transactions, there is a possibility of permanent asset loss. Solo staking is normally only advised for more experienced users due to these factors. Although there is no set timetable, ETH developers have suggested that withdrawals will be made possible roughly 6 months after the merge, or at the beginning of 2023. People who can't wait to get their money back should think about if staking ETH is the best course of action for them. Owners of ETH should also be aware that staking is optional. The safest approach to invest in the asset, in many people's opinions, is to hold their ETH in cold storage wallets or on controlled exchanges. Earning yield provides potential benefits but also carries substantial risk. While both mining and staking have the potential to be profitable, many investors believe that staking is a better use of capital because it enables them to receive a consistent income without having to buy, operate, and maintain any mining equipment. However, many investors make the error of looking no further than the nominal staking yields when choosing which cryptocurrencies to stake. In particular, investors frequently overlook looking into the inflation rates for the cryptocurrency tokens they intend to stake, which affect the real return rates for the asset. In other words, real return rates may be lower than anticipated if staking a token generates double-digit yields annually, but the token has an emission schedule that causes a high inflation rate. Staking rates shouldn't be the main factor in an investor's decision to purchase an asset. Also, volatility in the cryptocurrency market can affect real yields. Even if an asset earns a return through staking, it could not be advantageous if it experiences a 70% decline during a bear market. As a last point, investors should be aware that the price of cryptocurrencies is determined by supply and demand. For example, if the supply of a cryptocurrency increases by 30% annually, the demand for it must grow at a similar rate in order for the price to remain stable. If there are other tips that you have about staking, leave them in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.